I kid you not, as soon as I turned on the camera, my heart just like immediately started beating really hard. But, okay.
I'm gay.
I'm gay.
I am gay.
I'm gay.
I'm gay.
It feels so good to say that.
This is just one little part of who I am. And I'm not gonna let my sexuality define or confine me. It's part of me. It's not all of me.
Remembering back to how difficult it was for me as a kid growing up and feeling like it was wrong and I shouldn't be this way, to millions of people watching this and giving it a thumbs up in support of what this message stands for.
These people are highly respected by the social media generation. They're role models, and yet they do not have the same rights as many others. They cannot marry the ones they love. Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about a really controversial topic in Australian society, and I just want you guys to hear me out. Hartley wrote it well. You never truly understand a person until you climb inside their skin and walk around in it. Imagine the whole world was reversed and being homosexual was considered the norm and being heterosexual was considered abnormal. By the standards of the church, you were disowned and you couldn't marry the one you loved. Would you try to fight for your rights so that if you were seriously injured tomorrow, your partner could have a say in your medical treatment? Australia is one of the most diverse and multicultural nations in the modern day 21st century, and as such it's inevitable to see controversial topics raised and debated. Much advancement has been made around the world in regards to a number of controversial issues. One of the more prominent topics raised lately includes the matter of same-sex marriage and whether or not it should be legalised. The situation provided in the opening is a real-world scenario for all homosexual Australians. With the recent same-sex marriage plebiscite, one composite legalisation of same-sex marriage is an inevitable social change that we will see in the coming years in Australian society. By discussing Australian core values, the values of political parties, and the way other countries have changed after the legalisation of same-sex marriage, it will be clear to see how this is inevitable and how we can expect to see this change in the coming years in Australian society. Australian core values reflect the unavoidable legalisation of same-sex marriage, and as a nation, we need to stand by them. Ask any born and bred Aussie what it means to be Australian, and they'll answer things like fair play, a spirit of egalitarianism, and an equal opportunity for all. So when it comes to same-sex marriage, why can't we stand behind the same things? Even the Australian Values Statement issued by the Australian Government, which is signed by all people gaining a citizenship or permanent residency visa, says this: Australian society values the freedom of and dignity of the individual, freedom of religion, commitment to the rule of law, parliamentary democracy, equality of men and women, and a spirit of egalitarianism that embraces mutual respect, tolerance, fair play, and compassion for those in pursuit of the public good. The government themselves even says we value the freedom and dignity of the individual and has agreed to uphold the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, in which Article 23 talks about how family is the fundamental unit of Australian society and how the right of people of marriageable age to marry and create a family will be recognised. But yet, if I wanted to marry a female, there would be a problem. Whilst other core values reflect the coming change, some political parties and politicians have other ideas. Today's new broadcast centre mostly on the opinions of parliamentary parties, and as such each party has their own view on same-sex marriage. With the wide variety of parliamentary parties out there, there's bound to be some you've never even heard of, such as the Shooters, Fishers and Farmers Party, the Australian Cyclist Party, and even the Australian Sex Party. As such, there's always going to be highly distinct and controversial differences between the parties' views and opinions. Both the Labor Party and the Liberal Democratic Party were against the idea of same-sex marriage prior to 2011, but it was in December of 2011 that the Labor Party amended their platform in support of the issue and still provides MPs with their own conscious vote when the issue is raised in Parliament. The Liberal Democratic Party, however, and their famously anti-gay leader Tony Abbott, have stood firm on their opinion that same-sex marriage should not be legalised and does not allow Liberal MPs the conscious vote in Parliament, despite the fact a number of them have said that they would support the issue if they were given the chance. There are many other parties that are in support of the issue, such as the Greens, the Australian Sex Party, and of course the Australian Equality Party. There are also some parties who have said no distinct opinion and that they believe Australians have a right to vote in a referendum-type situation, such as the One Nation Party, led by Senator Pauline Hanson, who says this in their aims as a political party. Marriage between two people of the same sex is a social issue, and One Nation believes all Australians should have the right to vote in a referendum rather than a vote on the floor of Parliament. If it is to be determined by Parliament, then One Nation members of Parliament will be allowed a conscious vote. Majority of Australia's international counterparts have already made the move to legalise same-sex marriage, and not only their societies but economies have benefited from the change. There are many countries around the globe that have legalised same-sex marriage either recently or many years ago. One of the more talked about nations lately is the United States of America, and how the legalisation of same-sex marriage was such a controversy among their citizens. However, many businesses have come out and spoken about how their positive change has influenced their economic growth. Humphrey Jenner talks about how there are many economic influences the country may face if we do not legalise same-sex marriage soon. He says that if we look to the United States as an example of what they have experienced surrounding the change, we can see that Australia may face some economic consequences in the coming years, such as boycotting, unfavourable penalties for tourism, and our ability to attract high-profile celebrities here will fall. Whilst once the change occurs, the wedding business is likely to see a boost, with all wedding-related companies being able to expand their customer base to a wider variety of couples. The government has already spent $122 million on a postal plebiscite survey, which is both non-compulsory and non-binding, which meaning not everybody has to vote, and it doesn't actually have to mean anything in the long run. Drawing to a close, it is clear to see that same-sex marriage is a positive social change we will see in the coming years in Australian society. By taking a look at Australian core values, we were able to see that we're not standing by them as a nation should. When we took a look at the views of political parties, we could see a number of parliamentary parties supported the issue and needed to be given a conscious vote to make the decision. We could also see by the USA example that we're going to face quite drastic economic challenges if we don't make the change. And with economy in this day and age, I don't think we'd survive those consequences. Social media is our most powerful weapon as a generation. Make use of what we have and be the change you want to see in the world. I'll see you guys in the next week's video. Bye.